Failing to plan is planning to fail. And if your plan is to rely on the government to come to your aid after a natural or man-caused disaster, then you've already failed. Today we're going to talk about some things that you can do today for free to help prepare yourself for a future disaster or emergency. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. Hi, my name is John and you're watching the Olive Drab Alliance. Thank you very much for clicking on the video. I appreciate it. Hey, we've all got anxiety about things that are going on around the world, things that are going on right now, things that have happened in the past that have probably made you at least at some point think, maybe I ought to start preparing for a disaster, whether it's natural, man-made, what have you, maybe even imaginary. But you're on a budget, we're all on a tight budget. Today we're talking about prepping for free, things that you can do that don't cost any money to help you get ready for things that may come. Now look, we all see what's going on. We see it in North Carolina. We saw it out in Maui. We saw it down in New Orleans during Katrina. You've got to be your own rescuer. You've got to be your own grocery store. You got to be your own fire department. You got to be your own ambulance. You've got to be your own police department. And if worse comes to worse, you're going to have to be your own army. Let's hope it never comes to that. But how do you do it when money's tight? Money's tight for everybody right now. And it's not so much that money is in short supply. It's just that your dollar or your euro or your pound just doesn't have the purchasing power that it used to. It takes more dollars to buy the same stuff. But hey, we could go on and on about inflation. Let's talk about things that we can do for free right now to get ready. If you're nervous about the election, it's less than a month away. I look at it like this. It's 2 paychecks away. I'm going to get paid twice between now and the election. What's left over after my paycheck comes isn't enough to go run out and buy all the things I need to survive a disaster, right? And if you're like a lot of people, there may not be anything left over. There'll be a follow-up video to this, maybe the things that you could do with just $100 to get ready. But today we're talking about the things you can do with no bucks. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is food. And what I'm about to say may come off the wrong way, may seem controversial. But listen, the government spends a lot of money advertising on TV and radio that you should have a 72-hour emergency kit, 72 hours worth of food and water in your house. And if you don't have at least 72 hours worth of food in your house, and you don't have the money coming in to buy that much extra food beyond what you and your family consume in 72 hours, I'm talking about spare food you could put aside. If you don't have it in your house and you don't have the money coming in to acquire it, then you, my friend, should probably go to the food pantry. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion. A lot of people don't like to take handouts. But if you don't have the money coming in to buy the food, 72 hours worth of extra food, and you don't have the food in your house, the food pantry is set up for folks like you. That you're who they're looking for to help. Go to the food pantry. They'll give you some food. I know our local one runs every Tuesday. Tuesday morning you can go down there and they'll give you a box or two of food. They don't ask any questions. They'll give you some canned goods. They'll give you probably some fruits and vegetables, things like that. If you're not going to consume those fruits and vegetables, there's a lot of options. You can dry them, dehydrate them. You could turn them into a nice soup and put it in a freezer bag and freeze it for later. Take advantage of what you've got available for free, especially if you don't have the means to acquire what you need. It just takes a long time for the government to set up to help you. So you need to have, look how long it takes FEMA to set up and start helping people. You need to have that much food, water, supplies, medicine to bridge that gap. But if you don't have any or a lot of money, it's a trick. It's going to be a tricky situation. Another way right now here in October, early October, a great way to go get some free food is to come out to a place just like this, throw a line, a hook, a sinker, and a worm in the water, and catch some fish. A lot of people love to fish. Catch and release is a great thing, but fishing is also a great way to fill your freezer full of meat So if you have no money, there's food right here in this water for you. As far as bait, you can get worms for free. I'm sure there's many YouTube videos on how to do that, but basically, after a good rain, you go out at night with a flashlight, you shine it on the ground, you do what I call the elephant walk, and you kind of just go side to side, look inside, and you'll see those worms on the ground. Snatch them up, bam, you got bait. You're fishing for free. If you're catching fish, you're filling your freezer for free. Something else you can do that's still free in this country is walk. Get out and walk at least a mile a day or a couple miles each week. Just get out and walk, practice walking, because if it goes down, you might have to take the shoe leather express. If your town got totally wiped out by some natural or even man-made disaster, how far is it to the next town? That should be your minimum goal as far as your walking ability. Now, I know a lot of you can't walk. A lot of you can't walk very far. You know, maybe a lot of you have a disability, stuff like that. You're gonna have to find a partner to help push you, pull you, drag you to the next town, or wherever it is that you're gonna be able to find help. You know, watching what's going on down there in North Carolina, man, you can't depend on the government for help. They're not coming to help you. You've got to make a plan now to help yourself. And if you're limited in your capability, you just got to come up with a different plan, that's all. Hey, here's a question for you. What's in your trash right now? Go look in your trash can. Leave a comment. What's in there? Are there any 2-liter pop bottles empty? Are there any, I don't know, 40-ounce malt liquor bottles empty? Are there empty milk jugs? Is there anything in there that can hold water that you could reuse for free? If there is, fill it with water now. Set it aside for later. If you don't have anything like that, get on Facebook Marketplace. Get on Craigslist. Look for food-grade 5-gallon buckets, food-grade plastic barrels. A lot of times you can find these things for free, and you know, it might affect your water bill a little bit depending on where you live, but you can fill them up right now straight out of the tap, and there you go, you got some water for later. Now, how long you can keep that water for, that's debatable. There's a whole bunch of videos here on YouTube that talk about how to store water long term. Go check those out. But here in the short term, the next month or 2 or 3, you could just fill those jugs up with water, stash them away somewhere for later. You'll thank yourself for doing that. Now, I know where I live, I can get on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and find plastic containers that maybe I wouldn't want to put water to drink in out of, because maybe they had, I don't know, something that might affect the taste or the safety of the water. But I could use that water to flush a toilet. You know what I mean? I could use that water for other things rather than cooking and drinking. So speaking of water, let's say you live in a municipality, you don't have your own well, right? And the water is still coming out of the tap after something happens. That water may or may not be safe to drink. A lot of times there's water main breaks or other issues that cause that water to not be safe. It could be contaminated, and this is not the time to get sick. You've probably been through a couple boil orders where the city will say, hey, we're under a boil order for the next day or 2 or whatever. You're going to need a way to boil that water, even though it came out of the tap. Now, if there's no natural gas and the electricity is cut off, your stove's not going to work. You've got to have an alternate way to boil water. Your grill will work if you got a Weber grill, if you got a gas grill, but you know, you're going to run out of propane eventually. You're going to run out of charcoal. You're going to need sticks. You're going to need wood. You're going to need firewood. Maybe you don't even have a grill. You could just build a little fire, take a metal pan, make sure it's your wife's best pot and pan, and boil some water that way. Let me tell you a little story. When my kids were little, we used to go camping a lot, and we'd pull up to the campsite, and while I was setting things up, I'd give each of my 2 kids a brown paper bag from the grocery store. And I'd say, okay, go fill these bags up with sticks, and they'd run around the campground looking for sticks, and they'd see who could fill their bag up fastest, and I'd always say, well, the other kid's bag is heavier. So, but yeah, get some brown paper bags from the grocery store or wherever, if that's even a thing anymore. I know where I live it's a thing. Maybe it's not where you live, but just start filling them with sticks. You know, you might have to build a little fire to boil some water here. You got pallets laying around work or at a store downtown that'll let you take them. Make sure you get permission first. Sometimes they're more than happy to have you haul them away. But you could stack up some pallets in case you got to build a little fire. So I'm in northwestern Illinois, not Chicago, the other part of the state. And it's early October 2024. We got an election coming up, and that means that right now it's a great time to talk to your neighbors, the ones that you've never talked to. That's right. Because right now, a lot of people got those signs in their yard. And if you got a neighbor in your neighborhood who you've never talked to, but they got the signs in their yard that you like, maybe you got a common ground with them, that's a great way to open up a conversation. And, you know, you don't just want to start out with, hey, if World War III happens, are you going to be in my squad? You know, just talk to your neighbors. Maybe you can bring it up a little bit later about, hey, wow, did you see what happened in the news? Gosh, I hope nothing like that ever happens here. Hey, if it does, you know, I'll watch out for your place and you watch out for mine. That sound good? Something like that. Don't come across too strong. That means you're going to be the weird dude in the neighborhood. I'm already the weird dude in my neighborhood. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. So talk to your neighbors. It's totally free, and it's a great prep. Now, you don't want to always show your hand. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You don't ever want to let, if you got a stockpile of something or something like, maybe you don't really want to disclose all your preps. The rule number one of prepping is to keep your prepping secret. But rule number two is to build a community, right? So you're going to have to, at some point, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends that live nearby, and, you know, make sure that you all have an understanding that, hey, you're basically like forming a neighborhood watch. We're going to look out for each other. Now, your friends that don't live nearby, maybe they live an hour or two away, talk to them too. Think about what's going on in North Carolina. There's people going down there that live many, many miles away just to check on their friends they haven't heard from in a long time. Maybe you want somebody who's not local to keep an eye out for you, and then you'll keep an eye out for them. If something bad happens in their area, you know, you've got an agreement with them that, hey, if something bad happens where you're at, I'm coming, so be on the lookout for me, and vice versa. Talking to people. Still free. They haven't figured out a way to tax it yet, so make sure you're doing that. Speaking of free, get on Craigslist, get on the Facebook Marketplace, just type in the word free and see what comes up. You're going to see a lot of stuff. You're going to have to use your imagination in a lot of cases. You know what? You're not going to find a free, you know, case of MREs and 55-gallon drums full of water. But, you know, look at these things that are listed for free with an open mind and a good imagination, and you could come up with a use for it that might be helpful down the road. So be on the lookout for free stuff. I know when I'm driving around, if somebody's got something sitting out on the curb and it's got a free sign on it, I'm looking at it. And I'm not dismissive when I look at it. I keep an open mind. That old freezer that doesn't work anymore would make a great chicken feed holder, or you know, you name it. Use your imagination, keep an open mind, but definitely get online, get on the marketplace, get on Craigslist, type in the word free, and good luck to you. Let me know what you find. Have you ever found something really cool that was free? Now, I know I said we were going to talk about prepping for free in this video, and I don't know, if you trade something, it's not really free, is it? But we're not exchanging cash. We're not exchanging dollars or euros or pounds here. Get on Marketplace. Let's say you're looking for a Coleman grill. I highly suggest getting a Coleman grill for boiling that water, for cooking for your family. You name it, they can run off the Coleman gas. On and on about how great a Coleman grill would be to have in an emergency. Get online, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever you have, wherever you're at, and look for a Coleman grill. If they want $30 for it, I don't know, send them a message. Hey, I see you got this grill for sale. Would you be interested in a trade? I have X, Y, and Z. You never know. Maybe they'll take you up on it, you know. Maybe they're just looking to clear out their garage and they just want it gone. And they'll take X, Y, and Z. Maybe they don't necessarily want cash. The worst they can do is say no, right? They can just say, no, sorry, no trades, have a good day. On to the next one you go. So take advantage of these sites that have things for sale. And if you're trying to do this stuff for free, see if they're open to trading or bartering. You know, look in the pictures of the item. Are there a bunch of trees and stuff? Do they have a lot of trees in the background? Maybe you could offer to clean up some of the trees or whatever. You know, maybe it's on a farm. Maybe offer to help bale hay or something. Barter, trade. You can get stuff out there without exchanging cash. And this stuff could be stuff that you're going to need after SHTF. Maybe you've got a particular skill. Maybe you'd be willing to walk their dogs. You know, I'm sure you could work out something if somebody was open to a cashless deal. So if we're talking about prepping for Doomsday for free, we've already talked about food, firewood, free stuff, water, fitness, a couple things that you can do for free. Another thing that you can do for free is to train yourself. You know, teach yourself a skill here in the next 30 days. You know, look online. Maybe there's a free CPR class in your community, or even maybe at your work. Does your place of work have CPR classes? Go talk to your boss. Hey, I want to sign up for that. The American Red Cross Lifesaver program, they teach you some first aid. They teach you some CPR. If you've never had experience in these fields, or if it's been a while, maybe it's time to gain this knowledge or to brush up on it. So take a free class. Also, look at your library as a good resource. I hate to sound like idiocracy, but go read a book. You know, find a book on first aid and read it. You got to practice it now. You can't just read a book and know how this stuff works. You actually got to practice it. But you can get a lot of knowledge for free. Knowledge and skills that you might need later. So work on your skill set. Work on your knowledge. All free. Another thing that you can do for free that might be very vital after a disaster, get all your insurance paperwork. If you got homeowners insurance, renters insurance, car insurance, health, any kind of insurance you've got, get your paperwork out, take a photo of it, and text that photo to yourself. A lot of times, you know, maybe you can't make a phone call on your phone, maybe you're not getting internet, but you can still open your texts. So text photos of important documents, important paperwork to yourself. That way, even if it all got washed away or lost, if you still had your phone with you, you're good to go. If you got a spouse or maybe a family member that you trust, text it to them. That way, if you lose your phone, it's going to be on their phone. So make sure you're taking photos of your important documents. If you email these photos of documents to yourself, you know, maybe you won't have access to email anytime soon, but later down the road, if you can log into your email account from somewhere else, bam, there it'll be an email from yourself with photos of the important documents. If you're enjoying the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've got an experience you want to share, or a tip you want to share, or some helpful advice, head on down to the comments and leave a comment. Even if you don't want to leave a comment, go check out the comments, because there's always great nuggets and tidbits of information down there that you can learn from for free. And do you mean to tell me that you have not yet subscribed to the Olive Drab Alliance channel here on YouTube? Shame, shame, shame. Click that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing. Just like everything else we talked about today, it's free. Won't hurt you, won't bite you. I want to thank all my subscribers, past, present, and future. I'll see you all down the trail somewhere. Until then, have a great day. Ooh, I love that song. That's my favorite song. Not really. It's some copyright-free music that my editing software has. So, still catchy though, isn't it?